I've seen that before, but...
Check,
What?
check, check. We've got no audio.
No, you muted it.
Check, check, check.
No, you muted it. Yeah, see, it's fine.
We're live.
See, it's fine. Told you.
Hey.
Hey, we're live.
Yeah, we were just doing a last minute audio check.
Yeah, we need questions too. You're closing your laptop
yeah,
like your
that's
work
right.
is
Yeah,
done
yeah.
over
Yeah.
here. Jeez. Hello, welcome everyone to Live at Epiphan. This is episode 75. That's a big number, 75.
Hey, that's right. I never even occurred to me. Yeah.
Yeah, 75. Good number. Yeah,
Yes.
Pretty good. But anyway, today we've got some usual interesting topics to discuss. What are we doing today?
We are going to be diving back into software streaming applications. This is a very popular subject. That's what we've learned. People like to talk about their OBS setups and
Yeah.
their vMix and their Wirecast and compare them. So a while ago, we did an episode all about where we compared all the kind of major
Yeah.
players in the industry. So today, we're going to dive back in and talk about some of the more advanced features or
Yeah.
features maybe you don't use on an everyday basis.
Right.
Or features that are just coming out now that are kind of the new.
Or features to select one software option versus another.
Sure,
So
yeah,
there's,
yeah.
you know, what's going to fit your workflow the best. And
Yes.
that's a big, important part of any live streaming piece, whether it's hardware or software, is what's your workflow, what fits the best, what suits your needs.
So we know there's a lot of you who use software to do live streaming. So put your comments in the chat. I'm going to monitor the comments, questions, yeah.
All in there.
And we'll answer whatever we got.
Yeah.
But you've got some news.
Yes. So first, the news. So, Lisa, we'll bring up my laptop share here for a second. And the first piece of news, Twitch Prime is changing the way it's structured. For those of you who use Twitch Prime, or if your kids use Twitch Prime, it used to be that Twitch Prime, which was free as part of an Amazon Prime subscription, was totally ad-free on their platform. That's changing as of September 14th. It won't be ad-free unless you buy
So
the
it's
additional.
like the natural rite of passage for a giant company to become a grown-up company
Exactly.
and stop giving it all away for free.
Yeah, and of course, this is how monetizing live streaming platforms sometimes can work. So that's an interesting one. We'll have to see. There's been a lot of people complaining about this, so because they're upset, you know. So we'll see how it works.
People like free, yeah.
Yeah. The next piece of news was an interesting one. Again, maybe your kids saw this, but last week, or I guess over the weekend,
We trying to skew younger with the audience here? Is that what you're going for,
this
George?
time, yeah, was this big thing that I don't know much about or care all that much about, but I saw a lot of fallout and feedback online. But there was this big online boxing match, celebrity boxing match between Logan Paul, one of the Paul brothers, big YouTube celebrities, and KSI, another equally large YouTube celebrity from the UK. And there's a couple controversies around this. Number one, first of all, I would say the live stream aspect of it was a huge success. Huge success. Millions of people watched it.
Only live streamed, not broadcast.
Exactly. No traditional TV broadcast. It was YouTube, Twitch, and a couple other
And they made a
platforms.
few dollars.
They made a few, just shy of $200 million. And the purse was split 50-50 between the fighters. So they both walked away with close to $100 million each. Not bad for a day's work.
It's better than we make here, George. You realize?
Really?
Yeah.
Never would have thought.
We need to put on some gloves and go at it.
Well, exactly. Maybe there's a show idea. Episode 95. I don't
Yeah,
know. 100.
deathmatch.
Episode 100. Yeah. But one of the fallout of this was that a lot of people trying to criticize the match because it ended in a draw, which a lot of people were upset about because you shouldn't end a boxing match in a draw. That doesn't seem right.
No sporting event should
And so people criticizing it were putting up videos on YouTube and other platforms.
Yes.
And whether these individuals or their management companies or whoever started issuing copyright strikes against anyone using any clips of the fight.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of fallout there because, as some of you may know, there is this thing called fair use. And critique is fair use. So, so that's an interesting one. And I think the main reason I wanted to bring it up was to not give these two egomaniac celebrities any more stuff, but more the fact that when you're going to do anything using someone else's content, even if it is for the purposes of critique, and it may be by definition fair use.
You're saying the rules are changing.
The rules, bigger people, bigger players, they carry more weight than you do.
Yes.
And even though legally speaking it might be classified as fair use in broad strokes, you might still end up with strikes against your account. And in the YouTube world, strikes against your account could shut down your account entirely. It could prevent your account from live streaming. So there's a lot of
Play by the rules, yeah.
There's a lot of risk involved there. The last one, and this one's interesting because as we learned just after deciding we wanted to talk about this one, may not be quite yet.
Yeah.
So
you got me all excited with this one.
Yeah. So Facebook Watch, which I hadn't even heard of until I stumbled across this story. Facebook Watch is a dedicated part of the Facebook platform and app for just consuming video.
Right. It's their answer to YouTube.
Exactly. So one of the big critiques about using Facebook for video was that there was no single curated place to go and view.
And you can't
video.
search for
scrolling for days through your timeline. All that. It was annoying. And so apparently in the US, they've had Facebook Watch for a while.
Yeah.
Something like 50 million people use it daily in the US.
But I tried looking for stuff about this. It doesn't seem to be that popular.
No, I mean, if they claim 50 million, which isn't bad for just the US.
So anyway, now it's going international.
They claim they're rolling it out international. Not available yet here to us in Canada, or at least not the Georges.
Some national.
Yeah, some national,
northern.
not the Georges national.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, and I think that kind of adds to a little bit of a follow-up on our show talking about IGTV.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about Facebook and Instagram being
everybody wanting a piece of the
umbrella.
YouTube pie.
This is Facebook's IGTV in a way, right? It's a dedicated part of their platform for just video, a la IGTV. So that's an interesting one. If you guys check your Facebook app, see if you have this tab. There's a little player button that should be there in your UI.
And it's even in a browser. It's like facebook.com/watch.
Yeah, see if it works for you. It didn't work for us earlier.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
But I'm curious because I haven't actually had a chance to play with it beyond news articles.
So there's some bit of chat here going on. We've got people commenting on a new background. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah.
It is not a mirrored image. We just switched places, as was pointed out by Marta, who could read the writing correctly on the ABIO. And Rudy from Belgium is talking about how he likes vMix, vMix call and the data sources. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Stay tuned for that.
That's actually one of the first things we're going to talk about when we talk about the software streaming.
For sure.
Michael is saying, let me just read. I would think that if you're going to stream in 4K, you might want to use a higher res shared desktop. That's George.
Fair point. This laptop is capable of 4K. I think it is actually outputting 4K right now. But anyway.
Scaling it or something like that?
Yeah, it might be. Windows does all these stupid scaling
But anyway,
things.
I like that. Yeah, we should be doing everything in 4K.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's jump in. Software streaming.
Software streaming, yes. So the first one, I guess, we reordered things a little bit here. So funny enough, as one of our viewers mentioned, there are a lot of powerful tools out there, vMix included, and they can offer a variety of different things to help with your bigger production. And for me, I think one of the big arguments to use a software streaming application as opposed to a hardware appliance is sometimes the additional little bits and pieces of flexibility that they can offer.
Yeah.
It still absolutely means you typically have to have a bit of a beast of a machine to run it and all these other things, and there's all the risks of Windows updates and things like that come along with it. But anyway, but one of the ones that's a very popular one, apparently, in Belgium, it's big, is, and this is available in a couple of different software packages, but one of them is vMix and their vMix call feature. So this is great for collaboration, to bring in external guests. You've seen us do that a few times in some weird roundabout ways with Skype.
We often do it with Skype. We've tried to peer in. Every way we try to do it, it's a total pain. Like I hate setting it up because I've got to bring audio back into the show host and deliver audio back to the guest, but there can't be any latency on that audio going back to the guest, and same with the video feeds.
Exactly.
So it's a ton of like video and audio moving places. Right. So a feature like vMix Call.
Yeah, so vMix Call, really awesome. Basically, depending on the version of vMix that you decide to buy, will have different pricing levels, but it will also offer a different number of supported callers. So, the basic version is 1, and you can get up to 8 callers. The interesting part about this is from my understanding, it's leveraging WebRTC technology, which is easy and lightweight.
So WebRTC basically is a browser-based communication protocol.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's very easy, very universal, which is great. And basically, it would allow your remote guests to call in to your vMix, and from that, you can then bring them into your layouts, do your mixing and switching and everything else.
They're just an input. They become an input at that point.
Exactly.
Using their own webcam or
very seamless,
setup.
very easy, and definitely makes a very big difference. Less weird wiring, janky setups.
And you don't have any of the overlays. One of the things I noticed when we bring in Skype is that we always have to somehow crop away the overlays that say the name and the
so
contacts and stuff.
This is a great, clean way to bring in remote guests. Wirecast, I believe, has a similar setup with a direct integration with Skype.
I've tried
it's a weird Skype call. I personally think the vMix one is better, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't tell you which one works any better because they seem like pretty similar.
And even before this, I Googled OBS, bring in a call or something like that.
Stuff,
and there's a bunch of janky plugins that probably work for that.
Speaking of that, we'll get to that in a second.
Big lead.
So another option for collaboration in a different way of looking at things would be to have multiple stream hosts pushing their streams to a single place in the cloud and redistributing the combined content.
So what you're describing is if we want to do some kind of panel discussion with 4 people on one stream.
But they all have their own encoders. So instead of having a call-in guest,
you could have them all call in to me.
You could.
And I do the cropping and send that out.
And that's,
right?
Maybe you don't want to buy vMix.
Yeah.
So one of the things I found is from a company called Lightstream, Go Lightstream, and they have a number of things, including a browser-based software for streaming and recording. And they have a beta feature right now that they call Prism. And Prism is basically aggregating multiple streams and then restreaming them. So currently their output only supports Twitch and Mixer.
Yeah.
So they are gamer oriented in this right now. But the interesting thing is you can bring in up to 4 RTMP streams and blend them together and then send them out there.
You know what's really cool about this concept? And I think right now we're seeing just the tip of it with this Lightstream version. But if we're all sending up our own 1080p RTMP streams and then scaling it and doing our restream in the cloud, the quality is going to be way better than me trying to ingest all of your RTMPs, crop it, and then send it back up. Like it's going to make a big boost in
and it
quality.
makes it easier on your system, right? So in their case, anything that can send RTMP will work.
Yeah.
So that could be an Epiphan Pearl Mini. That could be OBS, XSplit, Wirecast, vMix. Doesn't matter. Any of these packages. And so that means that even creators who are collaborating that use completely different systems, it doesn't matter because you're pulling them together, doing the cloud. So it's really interesting. You can upload your own images for a background when you're mixing them together, which is nice. And so, I mean, I've liked the web browser-based stuff from Lightstream in general, and then this is, like, say, a beta one they have right now. As I said, only Twitch and Mix are currently supported, but in the future they do want to add additional platforms.
So, I just like it conceptually because you're doing more in the cloud. The comment I just put up, it's about how vMix is only 720p, and that's an example of how you're limited when you have to do it all locally on your machine here. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a pretty good one again for collaboration. So hopefully you guys have some good ideas on how that might work with things. And again, that's obviously common more in the gaming space, but I think it could be popular outside of that.
Lots of people talking about vMix Call here, which is great. Rudy and Michael and Stefan's talking about bringing Skype calls into OBS, or mix it with NDI. So lots of different ways to bring in those guests.
Exactly.
These ways, doing it through the cloud, is going to be the way that I think we're going to be all doing that within a year
at
or
some
two.
point. Yeah, exactly. So another powerful tool in the software options are ways to get paid.
Woo!
At the end of the day, people want to get paid, right? Cash is king. Everyone wants their piece. And one of the tools that you can use to do this at a fairly advanced but also super easy way, and not needing to be, super knowledgeable about online payment systems and all these other things.
So you want to have a quick way for people to say, donate here,
easy,
click on
but
it.
also people like to know. I mean, half the reason people donate to creators is to get a shout out. Let's be honest, right? Like,
I see. So you want a tool that puts their name up.
Right. So you want the recognition there. You want the interaction as we get with our chat with you guys. It's great. So one way you can do this in a pretty simple, straightforward toolbox is from Streamlabs. And they've basically taken OBS, stripped it down a little bit, which in my opinion, and right just at that point, it already runs better than OBS. Usually I find about 10 to 20% lower system load with Streamlabs OBS. But they've stripped out a lot of the stuff they don't think you need, and they've added in their own plugin package that gives you a bunch of different options. And they call them widgets as opposed to plugins, but the same idea. And with theirs, it means if you want to have notifications popping up because someone followed you, you want to overlay a chat box, you want to do event lists or a tip jar. They have all these plugins already built into their version of OBS for the visuals. But in the back end, when you use their service, they can help manage all the different donation portals. So if people are donating through PayPal, they can help manage all of that
Patreon?
for you. I'm sure, they have setups for that. So, there's a bunch of different things. And again, it's just using OBS, so the output can still go to whatever platforms you want.
I'm seeing more and more of the people who I follow on YouTube, they generate their income not through ads, but they do it through Patreon and others.
Exactly. And
even I've heard their podcasts I listen to now, they say donate to me on Patreon.
Right.
They run no ads.
A lot of these platforms like Twitch and YouTube have ways of making money through the platform. Like Twitch has their bits, right? But they take a cut of that. Super chat, or you now have sponsor buttons on YouTube if your channel's big enough, so that it's a monthly recurring subscription.
Oh, cool.
Not all channels have, but again, it's an option.
Yeah.
But they're all taking a cut of that. Well, if you want 100% of that revenue, then you might want to find another way to do it.
Yeah.
But managing your own...
So this Streamlabs, is it free or is it a paid?
They do have a paid service to help you manage and bring everything together. Okay. And again, all of these notifications are funneling through their back end so that they're saying, hey, this $5 donation popped up in your PayPal, here's that notification, it feeds into your OBS and boom, there it is on screen. Okay. So you don't have to do it manually. That's really the beauty of it. So yes, that is going to cost a bit of money. You have to decide if the value is there, but it's an interesting way of, I think, helping you monetize your content.
Yeah. Here's an interesting question from Stefan. A little bit outside of our wheelhouse, I think.
All right.
Asking how you could get, if you're a video creator, how you could get your video into a streaming service like Amazon Prime.
Be a Hollywood mogul.
Period.
I mean, Amazon Prime it's Netflix, right?
Exactly.
Like that's the
but
scale.
What he said that it's interesting. He said he saw some user-created content.
Interesting.
So we're going to follow up on that, Stefan, because that is interesting. If a platform like that becomes more of a community platform, not just a Hollywood
I haven't
platform.
noticed any of that. At least here in Canada, we just got Amazon Prime Video
we still don't even have Facebook Watch.
Exactly. And so what we get in terms of features from Amazon Prime,
the same features you got in 2015, we're getting them now.
Exactly. So we may not have a community aspect here, but in other regions, they might have that.
I don't remember where you are from, Stefan, but let us know where you are from.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. Yeah. That's an interesting one. And then another one we wanted to look at is, what if you want to take a piece of software and make it do whatever?
Like some free piece of software?
Some free piece of software you can manipulate to do all kinds of weird things.
Oh, yeah. What? That sounds amazing. Tell me more.
Tell me more. Everything in life for free. Well, nothing in life is free to a degree, but OBS is pretty close.
Yes.
So OBS, being an open source project, it is free, and it has a ton of community-built plugins.
Now, are they any good?
Some of them, yes. Some of them, maybe not.
Because it's like the Wild West with OBS, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it is a community, right? So there is no company to call for tech support. You're going to gamble on the stability of some of these plugins and the quality of them. But
what are some of the things you might do with these plugins?
So looking at some of these, there's some people had mentioned NDI in the chat. NDI plugins for OBS to bring in NDI sources, bringing in different animated sources, slow-mo plugins, so that you could do like an instant replay slow-mo
that's cool.
of previous content.
Can you just hit the button and go?
Exactly. So you can create a bunch of stuff.
That'd be nice.
Integrations with GStreamer, which is a Linux-based kind of thing, being able to bring in different things. But also, one of the ones I find interesting here, and one of the biggest criticisms of software streaming for me, is the load on the system.
Because it's going to make your computer run really poorly, right?
Sometimes, yeah. And if the more you can leverage the hardware in your system, especially those with high-end desktops, the better. And especially if you can offload the actual encoding part from the CPU to the GPU, you can do a lot of other stuff in the CPU because you
can manage which parts of your computer are doing the heavy lifting.
So OBS already has things like the Intel QuickSync codec built into their options.
Okay.
But what if you don't want to use QuickSync? What if you wanted to use your AMD graphics card? Mm-hmm. Well, then there's a plugin to use the AMD codec and leverage your GPU to do hardware encoding on your AMD graphics card.
That's pretty powerful.
It can be, yeah. So especially if you
can make it so that you could actually use OBS versus not being able to use it.
And they have stuff for NVIDIA as well. But if you're the guy who has a gaming rig and you're going to do streaming with it, offloading this that's a big play.
That's cool. I like that.
So there's a bunch of stuff in there. I talked to someone the other day who was bringing in data feeds like RSS feeds and an external timer application that they were bringing in through OBS. And all of that can be done through plugins. So there's some cool stuff in there. There's one here for OpenVR.
Yeah.
So
whatever you think you might be able to do.
Really cool one I did stumble across. Our friends at PTZ Optics have a plugin for OBS to control their PTZ cameras through OBS.
There's probably other one for Vesca cameras. And
exactly.
all the other protocols.
That's some cool stuff as well.
Yeah.
There's very, and again, OBS, I think the drawback is that you might not get the most optimal perfect system. There's no one at a company to call and complain, but it is a platform that you can really
if you're into if you're really good on your computer and you want to hack it together, you can do
but it definitely takes some learning. So those are kind of the bigger ones that we saw from that point of view. Another one that can be really, really, really powerful, and this covers a lot of these platforms, is using hotkeys, triggers, and macros.
Yeah, I first learned about this when we met with the guys at XSplit.
Yes.
Because we had booths right beside each other at the NAB Facebook Pavilion.
Yeah, so we hung out a lot.
We did, yeah. And they talked to us a lot about their new feature at the time was macros. Which I convert to if this, then that. Basically, kind of functionality, right?
Basically, yeah. So OBS, vMix, Wirecast, they all have hotkeys. I push this key and it starts and stops streaming. I push this key, it does a scene transition. Macros takes that to another level because, as you say, if this then...
Well, it ties a bunch of them together.
Exactly. So you could say when I hit F9, it starts my stream. 10 seconds later, it changes this transition. 10 seconds after that, it does this other thing. Yeah. And so it plays out this big piece, and you can really make it do whatever you want.
And more so on the contingency side. So it's like if my media stops playing, because I'm playing a little media clip, when it stops, do the transition to the next layout for me and start my intro music.
Automating your broadcast.
Automating your broadcast, for sure. And actually allowing you to do a lot more, because if you had to manually try and do all these things, you're going to just, it's too hard.
Exactly. So
we don't all have a producer behind the curtain here.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things that you can do with these macros within XSplit. And for me, XSplit also having this feature is great. They also have to be they are one of the paid options, but they're very well priced.
Yeah, it's like $200 or something like that, right?
You can
seem to go on sale.
You can buy a monthly or forever. And so there's a pricing tier for everyone.
Yes.
But they offer the same advanced tools that most of the others do, except I don't think they have a call option like vMix does yet. But
there's probably a reason that vMix is 2 or 3 times the price.
They've worked on developing these macros so that it makes everything easy for those. So I think, again, someone who wants to dig in and really work with their system and manipulate it, you got to be willing to go in there, and it's not going to be on the surface.
But and this is not the kind of thing you're going to do on day one of your live stuff, but we're always trying to figure out what are the small things we can do here. So for example, we used to have some intro music playing, and we're like, we need to get better at playing music and playing audio clips and playing media clips, because
someone needs to write us a jingle. Still waiting for that one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get my ukulele out. Yeah, so doing these little kind of macros things enables you to just add more to your production and do all of those little things that...
Smooth it out, but also minimize maybe the amount of labor involved.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's some creators we've worked with out there that, you know, they generate great content, but maybe their hour show could be condensed to 45 minutes if they didn't spend the equivalent of 15 minutes over that hour stumbling around trying to do their switching. Right? If it was all just more seamless. So, you know, that stuff would be great. So I think there's a lot of tools out there. So we were getting all that chat about vMix call and all those other kind of things. What are some of the things you've seen that you like? We're just saying vMix shortcuts, triggers, and then MkII, great for automating. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the platforms have these options. I do think that what XSplit did with their macros is a little above and beyond because it's much more open. But it definitely there's a lot of ways to do it. I mean, hotkeys is always going to be great. Anytime that you can try and automate with hotkeys, there are products on the market that are a separate keyboard and stuff like that.
Yeah, big fat keys that you can actually feel.
You can sit there and punch that instead of worrying about your actual keyboard. Those things, scripting that stuff can be great as well. A big help. We actually had a custom built box that we built to control our Perl switching. We don't use it very often, but we actually do have one that we built, which has 9 buttons or so on it.
Yeah, basically our own little hotkey box.
Yeah, and it connects over Wi-Fi and controls switching and start-stop on a Perl. So there's lots of cool things you can do like that.
Yeah.
I think another powerful piece when we're looking at these software things is, of course, how do you get your video content in there? Capture cards of various types, switchers in front of those in some cases, all adds to the depth that you can do. So
this is what we're going to be using. George and I are going on a little trip soon.
We are.
And
we've got a variety of tools here.
So this is part of our kit that we're going to be bringing with us because we need to be able to capture video from a hotel room and other places.
And stream it.
And stream it over a cellular network.
We can't rely on the hotel Wi-Fi. We got a new tool. This is the Netgear MR1100. This is Netgear's LTE hotspot. So we've just got this the other day. I'm playing around with it right now. So far it seems very cool. It has a cool screen and status on it. It's gigabit Ethernet as well as Wi-Fi, dual band Wi-Fi.
George has been geeking out on this all day
it's got external antenna ports, and I did get a bigger LTE antenna to hook up to it. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It'll be interesting. So I know in previous shows we've talked about these things for going mobile with webcasters and other devices, and some people had even suggested this one. We already had our eye on it, and this is a fully unlocked one that we bought, so I can put in any SIM card I want and use it worldwide. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So where are we going to be for that show?
Maybe we'll make some our own hotkeys for that.
Yeah. So I guess some of that content is going to come from very shortly. We're going to be in Amsterdam for IBC, which is a big show in Amsterdam. Big show. We're going to have a booth there. So any of our European viewers, if you feel like coming and saying hi and hanging out in Amsterdam with us, we'll be at IBC from September 14th to the 18th.
Yes.
So we'll be there. I'll be there. You won't be there.
I won't be there. No.
I'll be there. And a few other Epiphan team members. And then after that, we get a little bit of a road trip time, and then you and I get to hang out and do a live show from Sweden.
Yeah.
So that's going to be in the.
If there's anyone from Sweden watching, please get in touch. We need to know more about where we're going.
Yeah, where's a cool spot that we're going to get great cell signal and is really interesting on camera at 9 o'clock or so at night, because we need to do the show at 3 p.m. Eastern.
We had another comment from Saul talking about the palette gear hotkeys. I don't know if you've ever seen these.
No,
these are really cool little customizable little modules that you can stick together and make your own hotkeys. And you can use them for any kind of software. People use them for Photoshop and other things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of people chatting here in the chat, which is great. I'd like to see all that. Thanks for interacting with us today.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching the show. We'll be here next week. Were you going to be here next week? Oh, no. We have special guests next week.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I won't be here next week.
So tune in. We're going to have a 3-person show, and it should be lots of fun.
I don't know what's happening. I just show up and do what they tell me.
You're great like that.
I'm going to go back to drinking my coffee.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in a week.
It's good to be here. All right. See you next week, guys. Thanks so much.